Autumn again with Married to an Old Man Ministry. I'm actually coming at you today with a little bit of, well, for me it's not really disturbing news, but for some of you it may be. You see, there is always going to be an attack. An attack on who? Well, easy prey, easy targets. John 10:10 says, "The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I have come to give you life more abundantly." That is Jesus talking there in John 10:10. But the thief is our enemy. The thief comes to kill, steal, and what? Destroy. Utterly destroy. What is the easiest way to destroy people? The easiest way to destroy someone is through their own mind, through their own logic, through their own mentality, to control, to change someone's opinion. You can do it slowly. It does not have to be quickly. It can be done over the course of a few years. But after a time, one person becomes, well, you become numb. You become void of some things of existence. This is to say, you strip away freedom slowly. You don't do it all at once. Just saying. It has come to my knowledge that there is now an after-school program for kids by the Satanic Temple, Satanic Order. This is not a surprise to me. To some of y'all, it may be a surprise, but it's not a surprise to me because, you see, for many years, I enjoyed the dark. I enjoyed the benevolent. I enjoyed the things of that would go bump in the night. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the dark. I liked the mysterious. I liked the murder shows, the shows of witchcraft, the shows of different things like that. The reason this comes as no surprise to me is because the #1 show on Netflix right now is all about people getting dragged to hell. Okay, and some of y'all might say, oh, what? That's the #1 show on Netflix? Yes, it is. And I'm guessing a bunch of y'all have probably seen it because it's the most watched show on Netflix at this point. So you can't say you haven't seen it because you have, or else it would not have been the most watched show on Netflix of all time at this point. I'm not going to name what the actual show is because it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But it shouldn't come as a shock to you that the Satanic Temple is wanting to put in after-school programs, because here's the thing. If you allow one religious program, say a Christian program after school or anything, you have to allow them all. And see, the Satanic Temple, they're smart people. They're not idiots, because for some reason, the majority of people who aren't Bible-thumping, Bible-believing Christians, majority of the time, they're very intelligent people. Actually, the higher of intelligence you are, the harder it is for you to believe in Christianity. And that's when time and time again it says in the Bible to be leery of being too wise in a man's eyes. That's kind of the problem, is because the higher up your IQ is, the less and less likely the reality of God gets to you. Whereas, like Phil Robertson's, he loves to claim that he is the C+ man. Okay? But I want to call to y'all's attention in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3, it says, "The first understand that there shall come in the last days mockers which will walk after their lust, and say, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers died, all things continue unlike from the beginning of creation. For this they willingly know not, that the heavens were old, and that the earth that was water, and by the word of God. But the heavens and the earth which are now are kept by the same word in store and reserved unto the fire against the day of condemnation and the destruction of the ungodly men. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now that that's going on. These school programs from the Satanic Temple, guess what they is? Mockers. They're mocking. They're saying, hey, you get to have that Christian organization in the school. Where we going to put our organization in the school as well? And y'all, they crafty too. They're smart. If you actually, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video. If you actually go to it, it's actually, a pretty sound looking, all laid out after school program. That is to help children. That is to help you reach your goals. I know I work for 3 small districts. I work for 3 little elementary school districts. And guess what? My elementary school districts, they were all hit by this COVID pandemic. They were all hit by this stuff. And guess what? Who suffered the most? The students. The students suffered the most. So guess what? These Satanic Temple people, they're crafty. They're smart. They know what they're doing. So they're not just hiring some Joe Blow off the street volunteer, Miss Susie volunteer, that likes to volunteer for everything, but really isn't really that smart and, can't exactly teach students. No, they're not hiring somebody like her. They're hiring somebody who has degrees. Yeah, oh yeah, they're being smart about it. They're even saying that they're doing background checks on the people, rigorous background checks on their people, unlike other religious after-school programs, like possibly some Christian-based ones. May not be. But, this is what they're saying, because we're Christians. We know that someone can be in prison and can dedicate their lives to the Lord and can change their lives. But guess what's still on their record? Oh, yeah, that prison stint. And see, that's what they're doing. Is they're saying, oh, well, we do these background checks. And they hire people that are like that. But we're not. So we're better. And see, the thing is they're putting them in specific places right now. Why? Why are they doing that? Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe so that next school year they can say, oh, yeah, look at how many kids actually were in our program. Now, no, our program did not push you to worshiping the Satanic Temple. We didn't push none of that doctrine or anything like that on y'all. Like the Christian ones are doing to your kids. They're pushing religious doctrine on them. That's a bad thing. It's a bad word. No, it's not. It's not. Oh, also, a little further down, it says not to be ignorant, okay? Let's not be ignorant during these days, okay? But I'm going to tell y'all, they're being very smart about this because, like I said, I work at these school districts. I know we have things like ACE programs, things like that going on at some of the districts around in the area that I live in, trying to boost those test scores, trying to do things like that. Well, the Satanic Temple is saying, well, we can go in, we can be this free thing for these students, this free option alternative for the schools, so they don't have to fund an ACE program. They don't have to fund things like that. Instead, this can be an after-school program funded by the church, funded by their organizations, funded by things that you don't want to realize is funding them. Okay? Do a little research. But they're doing this that way so that next school year they can say, look at all these kids that passed the standardized test from doing this. And guess how many mamas are probably going to sign? No, they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm not real religious, or, oh, I don't really believe in any of that stuff. So I'm going to sign my kid up to that. You talking about it's free childcare. First of all, lots of parents love the thought of free childcare. Oh, you're not pushing anything on my child. Okay. And oh, you're going to get my kid to passing. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And don't you for a second think that that's not going to have some kind of impact. Oh, they might not be teaching religious doctrine right now, but somebody's going to ask them. One of them kids is going to ask them. And that's going to, guess what that's going to do? Open a door. Open a door that no man can shut. That is going to open a door. And see, that's all they need. All they need is that just little open door, little crack, little crack, little big crack. That's all they need. They don't need anything else. All you need is that crack open, and it'll make its way in. Yep, it will. And see, the thing is it doesn't surprise me, because look what's on TV. Look at what you're watching. Look at what you're letting your kids watch. And then all of a sudden these parents are like, we can't allow them to be in our schools. No, you should have been saying that 60 years ago when you let them take the Bible out of a school. You all of a sudden going to be up in arms and say, oh, we can't have this there. Guess what? They have grounds to stand on. They have court orders. They have Supreme Court rulings that they can stand on and say that they can be there at that government institution teaching to your kids. They can do it. You know why? Because people like my parents let it happen. Like my dad's parents let it happen. While you're out there sleeping for so many years, they let things like this happen. And now it can be at any school. It can be at your kid's school next year. And guess what? If it shows an increase in test scores, it will be at your kid's school next year. Especially if your kid's got any other religious organization at their school. It'll be there. It'll be there. Just wait. Just wait, because, you know, as the test scores increase, their funding will increase too. And they'll actually become a demand for them at the schools. A demand for it. A demand for it. And see, that's the thing is, in the last of days, there will be mockers. In the last of days, they're going to try to prove themselves. You know why? Because they got this man that they're trying to get into power. They're trying to get in a position so that we can make revelation actually happen. We can break some seals and we can cause it to happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, y'all out there watching them satanic shows and enjoying it, you also opening doors. You're opening windows. You're opening, you're cracking it open and letting them come into your house and letting them cause problems to you. Okay? There's another verse I want to read for y'all. It is in 1 John. Now we all know John being the one who wrote Revelation. Okay? John, in 1 John chapter 5, he says, we know we are of God, and this whole world lieth in wickedness. This is John chapter 5, verses 19, 20, and 21. We all know the world lies in wickedness. We all know it lies in wickedness, and yet we gonna be surprised when stuff like this happens. Stop being surprised when things happen now. Okay? You in the last today. Stop being surprised about anything. Stop being surprised about inflation. Stop being surprised that they trying to shut everything down again. Stop being surprised about trying to make a vaccine mandate. Stop being surprised about anything, okay? Because they trying to just gear everything up to get to the end game. But we know how it's gonna end. We know how it's gonna end. If you don't know how it's gonna end, I suggest you read the book of Daniel and you read the book of Revelation. Because then you'll know. You'll know. That's going to end with a blaze of glory. Jesus Christ being on the throne again. Verse 20. But we know that Son of God is come, and hath given us a mind to know him. He has given us a mind to know him. Just a lot of people ain't breaking open that mind to know him. Because they would rather prefer the darkness. They would rather prefer that darkness. I want to bring everybody I can into the light and away from that darkness. We've been given a mind to know him, which is true. And we are in him. That is true. That is in that his son, Jesus Christ, the same is that very God and that eternal life. We are in him. We are in the truth. We have eternal life. Teach your kids that and keep them safe from things like an after-school program. And not just that, keep them safe from all. Proverbs 22:6. Train them up right. Train them up in God. And they will walk with it for the rest of their lives. Train them up. I was not trained up. I was not. As a child. But guess what? I had my Saul moment that became Paul. And the scales fell off my eyes when I was 27 years old. That was 1 year ago. I had that revelation. I had that moment. And this is why I'm here today. And this is the best one. Verse 21. 1 John chapter 5, verse 21. Little children. Who's he calling? Who's he talking about? Little children. Who is the Satanic Temple going after? Little children. Keep yourselves from idols. Amen. Keep yourselves from idols. Who keep from idols? Keep them kids from them idols. Keep them kids away from things like this. Your child needs to be prayed over daily. Your child may not have their own armor of God to gird themselves up every day. But you know what they have? They have you. They have you to teach them to read the scriptures. They have you to teach them to go in that certain way. They have you to teach them that it is a narrow path. A narrow path. Not the broad path, but the narrow one. And you know what else you can do? When you see stuff like that happening at your school, you can volunteer to do the Christian one. Yes. Yes. Have that be what you go for. And not to mention, I know that there are private schools, that there is great Christian private schools out there, but I live way out in the country, where the closest private school to me is about 30 miles away. 30 miles away. That's far. Just like I can't homeschool my child. Why? Because it's just me and her all day. Not just that, is I'm trying to help these other 3 little districts. Okay? Now, if I was a full-time minister, yeah, I might consider homeschooling my child. But the thing is, y'all, is there's a lot of people out there that's just like me, that you can't homeschool your kid. You can't do this stuff, but you know what you can teach them? You can teach them this right here. You can teach them this daily. And guess what? Even during the summer when they ain't going to school, you can still teach them this. You can still teach them this to protect them. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Keep yourselves from idols, because you know what you're teaching your kids every time you're on your phone? You're teaching your kid that your phone is an idol and that they should idolize it too. Every time you turn on the TV, you're teaching your kid that the TV is an idol and they should worship it. Every time you do anything, your child is watching you, and they watch what you care about most. They watch what you spend the most time on and the most time with. So if you teach your kid that this right here is what you spend most of your time on. Yeah, I have a Geneva Bible. My dad gave it to me when I was first going to college. He was not a religious person, but for some reason he felt to give me this. And I still have it. I still have it today. But teach your kids that this right here is the most valuable asset in your home. And guess what? They will always think that. They will carry that through for the rest of their lives. But you got to teach them this. You've got to teach them this. They can't learn it from their teacher in school. No, everybody's already just taken that Thomas Jefferson letter to the extreme and said, no, it's a separation of church and state. No, actually that was written, honey, to let the churches know that the state wouldn't infringe on them. That's what it was. But we're not going to go there. They're not going to learn it from their teacher. They're not going to learn it from their principal. They're not going to learn it from the secretaries, the aides, the cafeteria workers. They're not going to learn it from anybody. They're going to learn it from you. They're going to learn it from you. A child spends more time in their lives with their parent than they do with anyone else. Use that time wisely. And if your kid is already a teenager, guess what? You've still got time. You've still got time to show them the importance of reading the Bible. Even if your kid is an adult, you can still tell them about reading the Bible. You can still tell them, yeah, I read this in the Bible the other day. It was such a good story. Like, let me tell you about it. Tell your grandkids about it. Tell your grandkids. The most godly person I know is my grandmother. And, you know, it just, you don't understand that it would actually be blessing them more than you realize. And keep your kid, figure out what your kid is learning in school and keep your kids from things like that. Because I know that they're going to look good. They're going to make it look so good. They're going to make that stuff look so good. And y'all can check out the link. I'll attach it below. Y'all can check it out for yourselves. Look at it. Think about what you want to about it. And it doesn't surprise me at all. Because I was far into that darkness. I was so far into that darkness. And it doesn't surprise me as much as it probably would most Christians. Because a lot of Christians, y'all were raised in the church your whole life. So you never knew anything else. I wasn't. So I didn't know a lot of other stuff. And they might not be teaching them witchcraft. They might not be teaching them any of that stuff. They might actually be teaching them real stuff that involves in their classwork. Things like that. They may actually be teaching them those things. But you're opening a door. Just remember that. You're cracking it open a little bit. You're going to let them in. Your kids are going to know them. They're going to reverence them. They're going to see them as a friend. They're going to get to know them really, really well. And then all of a sudden one day the kid's going to say, so where do you go to, what do you do on the weekends? What do you do? And stuff like that. And that'll be that first question, that first inkling. And that will get your child actually thinking, but they're not so bad. They're not bad at all. They're better than the Christians. Like, the Christians are just doing this, that, and the other and just condemning me for all my sinning and stuff like that. But they're actually telling me like it's a good thing. And then bam, boom, their mind will be just shut off into darkness. And they will never actually see the light and never actually see the love of God. And that's why you got to teach them the love of God. You got to teach them the love. That's what we got to do as parents. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And please go check out that stuff. Go check out other videos actually about it, and you're going to see that they're being very smart and they're being very tactical about it. And I'm going to tell you right now, the best defense is good offense. So pray about it. Pray over your kids. Best defense is good offense, and that don't just apply in football. Y'all have a very good day and a very wonderful rest of your week. I pray that each of y'all have an abundance of blessings. At John 10:10, he has come so that you can have abundance of blessing. Remember that. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.